Greetings and salutations, this is Rick. I do hope you're having a great day. Alright, this is just a little jaunt out in the van and a little natter, sort of a video loggy type video, because I haven't made one for a while, and I thought it was about time we had a catch up. So, how have you been? I hope you've had a great winter so far, or summer if you're in the southern hemisphere. I haven't been doing a lot, to be honest. I've been in that kind of winter shutdown mode, which I tend to go in each winter, which also seems to get more prominent as I get older with each year, each winter. I seem to go even deeper into that winter hibernation cycle that I go into. Now at the moment it's a beautiful sunny day. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's what is it, nearly 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we've got a bit of sunshine. I haven't seen a bit of sunshine for quite a long time, and I can feel it just teasing me out of that hibernation mode and wanting to get out and do things. Hence I'm out in the van. Have no particular place I want to go. I just thought it'd be nice to go for a little drive. I haven't driven my baby for a little while, so I thought it'd be nice to just jump in, put the camera up and point it in whatever direction it wants to go in and see what happens. As I say, not a huge amount been happening in Rickworld. I've just been ticking along with life, been getting on with work. As you probably know, I work from home, so there's always plenty for me to get on with and do. But I have been doing a few newish things. One of which I actually managed to get hold of a VR headset, and I've been spending a bit of time in virtual reality of an evening. It's been quite a fun little hobby. One of the things I do is I go to this place called VR Chat, and it's like a chat room. Now, to be honest, I'm not actually that into meeting up with new people, but I mean every now and again I sort of feel in the mood that I want to socialise a bit, and I'll meet up with anybody in there, and sometimes you get some pretty good people in there, other times not so much. But it's a really interesting place because you get to visit all of these different virtual worlds, and there's one in there that I particularly like, and it's a Japanese shrine. And it's this amazing building, all in virtual reality. And obviously with the headset on, it's like you're actually there, and it's really good. And a couple of weeks ago now, I met up with some people in there and just started chatting with them. And a lot of them were Japanese, and they happened to speak English as well. So we had some interesting cultural exchange type conversation. And they ended up inviting me to this other world, which was a dance room, and I thought I'd go along and see what it's all about. So they drop this portal, and you all go through the portal and end up in this other world. In this dance world, you get your avatars to dance, and this world you go into is really good. You basically choose a song from a big list of all these different songs, and there was one particular dance that somebody chose, and there are these like rings on the floor. Well, in this case there were like these star shapes on the floor, and if you stand your character on one of these star shapes, somebody hits the play button, and then all of a sudden your character is transformed into this, or transported into this onto this dance floor, and you all dance in unison to this music like a big dance troupe, and it was really good fun. Anyway, I've been spending a bit of time in VR Chat and quite enjoying that of an evening, and it's I just like going to all there must be like hundreds and hundreds of different worlds you can go and visit, and it's just rather nice just going to all these different worlds and sort of, you know, exploring them. There's an old thing broken down on the side of the road. Is that a Triumph? Yeah, I thought so. That looks like an old TR6. But yeah, apart from that, not a lot happening really. Like I say, just generally hibernating. beautiful weather today sort of brought me outside. I haven't bought any camera equipment with me, to be honest. I just chucked the GoPro in a bag with the over-ear mic and just set up minimal equipment. Could have brought my camera with me actually, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of taking pictures this time of year. There's not a lot going on. Even in the sunshine, with all the trees bare, things can look a little bit bleak. Actually, talking of cameras, I was looking at the Hero 7, because they're on the Model 7 now, I think, aren't they? It's just recently come out. And that's actually got a built-in stabilizer, which they claim is almost as good as using a gimbal. And I saw a video a few days ago where somebody was trying out a Hero 7 on a gimbal, and it was the smoothest footage I'd ever seen. You know, this guy was running along, walking along, and you didn't even get the little, you know, steps on the image. So I would be tempted at some point, perhaps, with a Hero 7 and a gimbal. But again, at the moment, it's just all expense, and you know, I'm not a rich man by any stretch of the imagination. And at the moment, I'm kind of having to watch the pennies a bit. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But possibly later on in the year, perhaps, we'll see. And also, I've got another thing coming up, which I'm going to be. I don't know whether I should say or not, because I think I did the introduction video today, and I said in it that I haven't told anyone, but I'll give you a little hint that I'm going to possibly be doing a series of videos on a kind of a life-changing thing, but I'm not going to release those videos unless the thing I'm hoping is going to happen happens. So you can ponder on whatever that is, but you'll only actually get to see it if it actually works. Really hoping to do a bit more touring around this year, a bit more getting out in the van. I've got no excuses now to not go out. I've got the van for it. I can hopefully do a few little slightly longer distance journeys and overnight camps and things. And one thing I would like to do this year very much is actually do a road trip. When I think about it, I've never really done a proper road trip, you know, where you go from one place to the next, stay overnight, and then you carry on and go from, you know, that place that you stayed to another place and then stay. I don't think I've ever done that in my lifetime. Whenever I've travelled, it's always been from A to B, and B being your final destination. And when I think about it, if I want to make a road trip work, I actually have no idea how the mechanics of it actually works. So I know I keep pondering on the idea of returning to Scotland. I went to Scotland a long time ago, probably about 15-20 years ago, and I've always wanted to return there because it's just the most beautiful land on the planet, you know, the most beautiful country. But it is a long way away, and I can drive to it, but I mean, I could probably do the borders of Scotland or get over the border into Scotland in one day, but it's quite a long journey. So I figured if I'm going to do it, why not do it as a road trip and kind of work my way up the country and make a trip of it, and maybe see a few things along the way, maybe even stay away from the motorways and work my way up the country on the A roads. They're a lot more interesting than the motorways, which can be really quite tedious. I don't know, it's just a pipeline idea I've got at the moment. I think it would be rather good, but what I need to do if I'm going to do that is to do perhaps a few practice road trips. You know, when I say the mechanics of how a road trip works, I'm thinking along the lines of, you know, if I'm going to a campsite, do I have to book that campsite a day in advance? Do I have to do it weeks in advance? Can I change my mind on the way if I see a place I like? Do I just like hunt around for a campsite? Do I carry a book with me that's full of campsites so I can, you know, phone ahead and say, right, I think I'm going to stay here, have you got any spaces? I don't know, because I like to be quite spontaneous, and I think if I was to say, right, on Monday I'm going to go here, on Tuesday I'm going to go there, on Wednesday I'm going to go there, by the time I get to Tuesday I might have changed my mind and thought, actually this seems more interesting, I want to go that way. At which point, if I've already pre-booked a place for Wednesday, it's going to tie me down. So if you've done road trips in the UK, how do you do it? What's your methodology? Do you wait until you're, a couple of hours away from wanting to stop overnight somewhere before phoning ahead somewhere and seeing if you can book, or do you just turn up to a site and hope for the best? How do you do it? I'd be really, really interested to know. I'm going to go left here into Hungerford. We'll just take a little drive through Hungerford because we can. This is just a nice little, I think, is it Oxfordshire village? I presume it's Oxfordshire, Hungerford, I think. Or is it Berkshire? I don't know, actually. I'm sure it's Oxfordshire. Where can we go then? So this is like a main road through, parking to the right. I'm not going to get out today. I have no intention of doing anything today apart from just having a little jaunt, little drive. It's a funny little high street, this, though. It's got some nice little old houses. It's kind of like, I always think of it as like a mini Marlborough, because Marlborough's like this, except the houses are taller and further apart and look a little bit grander, but you've still got like thatched cottages and stuff along the high street, which is kind of quite nice. In fact, we probably might end up coming back through Marlborough. I think that's probably what I'll do. Just a little round trip. I did actually get asked the other day, when am I going to do LARP again, and am I going to make a video on it? At the moment, I think my last LARP event was in the early autumn, I do believe. It was E4 Empire. Now, if I'm completely honest, I have not yet got my LARP mojo back. I'm not going to be attending the first event of this year. There are 4 events each year. I'm just not psyched up enough to attend E1, but I'm hoping that will have changed by E2 and I will have some LARP energy to go and attend E2. Now, I have had some discussion with some of the my fellow housemates in my LARP house, and I'm going to be toning down my character's role in E2. In my last role, I was trying to get my head around a certain aspect of the game, which was there's that brain fog again. I'll think of it in a second. The artisan game. And I was trying to learn how to do the artisan skills and then use my character to sell his abilities in game and stuff like that. And to be honest, although I kind of enjoyed it, it was still stressing me out quite a lot, just trying to get my head around the nuts and bolts, the mechanics of the game. And after I'd left and had time to sort of digest and reflect on the event and everything, the one thing that was a constant is my interest in the LARP is just being in that amazing environment. But when I try to engage the mechanics of the game, I find it quite stressful, and it was what was causing a lot of the mental energy drain and ultimately the mental exhaustion that comes after an event. So what I'm going to be doing this time round is I'm going to be toning down my character's the things that he does. I suppose the way I look at it is having a more toned down event, where I'm not doing quite so much, just being there in the background in a more supportive role, and I think I will enjoy it more if I do that. That may change later on, especially if this thing that I'm not going to tell you about, apart from I'm going to try it, this life-changing thing I'm going to be attempting over the next few months, which I'm not going to mention any more than that. If that becomes a success, it may change things later on, and I may be able to engage in a much more involved way, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But at the moment it's all very up in the air, all lots and lots of uncertains. And part of me wants to tell you, I think I'm onto something, but I can't say any more than that because I don't know if it's going to work or not. If it doesn't work, it would be completely pointless to say anything. But if it does work, it could potentially be life-changing. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying at this time. But at a later date, if it does work, you will get to know what it's all about. But you will only get to know what it's all about if it works, which I think is the sensible way of approaching it. And when you find out what it is, you'll understand why I'm not talking about it and not, sort of doing a weekly progress thing or vlogging about it. But there we go. That little something to keep your intrigue up. But hopefully it will be a thing. But you're going to have to wait about 3 months for that to come into fruition if it actually becomes a thing. Actually, I'll tell you one slightly interesting thing that's happened to me over the last couple of months, particularly just this side of Christmas. Just early in January, I started to get that feeling that I wanted to move again, and I started looking back in Wales, but there's something stopping me from going ahead and doing it. I've got to figure out what it is I'm going to get out of moving, and also, is it a case of the grass is greener on the other side? Because where I live is an incredibly convenient place to live, and although I don't particularly like the location where my house is, but there are so many things that I could gain from moving, but then so many things I would lose as well. So I'm always feel like in this state of limbo, and also I know that this feeling comes and goes, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm always holding back from actually taking the plunge and moving. It's got to be somewhere pretty special for me to actually decide to go ahead and actually take the plunge. Plus, of course, we got Brexit. Brexit is very much hanging over all of us at the moment. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Your guess is as good as mine. All I know at the moment, I don't ever do politics on my channel. I don't do religion or politics. I don't go there. But all I know at the moment is the whole country is divided. There is polarization on two extreme sides of one fence, and it's really it's kind of this stalemate I have no idea how we're going to get out of, and there's a lot of quite passionate feelings about it all. I kind of stay away from it. It's like politics to me at the moment. It seems to be it's almost like this poison chalice. Anybody that gets involved in it, I've seen very moderate people turn quite aggressive and quite the wrong kind of passionate over this kind of nonsense that's happening. But it's caused this huge rift between people, and that can't be a good thing. That's just not good. It's broken up families and stuff just purely over political beliefs. And when that kind of nonsense starts happening, it is a poison chalice. It's just something I don't want to get involved with. And so I just kind of carry on living in my little blissful ignorance bubble. Sometimes it's better just not to engage it. There was a time where you could have a really good conversation with somebody who completely disagrees with you, and you still walk away best friends at the end of it. And it's okay to have different beliefs. and different ideas and you know, sort of ideals about the way life should be and the way things should be run and all the rest of it. And a lot of our beliefs and a lot of the way we look at stuff all comes from our own personal life experiences. And if two different people have had two very different life experiences, they're going to have two very different sort of outlooks on life, and that's completely normal, that's completely natural. But at the moment it seems we're in this place where you can't have a disagreement, or you can't have conversations with people without, you know, if you got different beliefs now, it's sort of it drives a wedge between people, and it's just not good. It's just not a good thing for any humans to be like that. You know, it's just not productive in any way, shape or form. It's so destructive. So I'm really hoping whatever happens, whichever way it all goes, that at some point we can find some sort of reunification. We can have something that will start to unite people rather than split them apart, which is happening at the moment. Oh, that's a weird little car. What is that? It's like it's either a really old car or a kit car, I can't tell. But yeah, we should wait and see. I think the deadline at the moment is March 29th, so it's like a month away. Where we're allegedly going to leave, potentially, they're all still trying to battle through whether they can get a deal with Europe or not, but a lot are saying it looks like we're going to leave Europe without a deal, and there's lots of people saying it's going to be, you know, the end of the world and all the rest of it. I have no idea what's going to happen, and how it's going to affect us. I'm assuming it's going to cause some issues with some businesses and stuff, but I'm assuming. I mean, there's also talk that we're running the clock down, and there's going to be a last minute reprieve or something happening at the last minute. I don't know. I'm just going to sit here and kind of hope that, you know, whatever happens, it's not going to be disastrous. You know, it's not going to be the end of the world for us. And I'm hoping, you know, the other side of this March 29th is going to be. Something is going to resolve, you know. I don't know. I just, but I hope there's going to be some sort of healing. That's my main concern about Brexit. It's this world, you know, this country. There's so many people that are so divided, and you know, like I say, families and stuff splitting up because of their political views. You know, some voted to stay, some voted to leave. Nobody wants to meet in the middle anymore. And I guess my philosophy on life has always been is what the Buddha said. You know, find the middle path. That's always been my approach. You know, don't go extreme one way or extreme the other. Just find that middle way. That's kind of sensible, practical in the middle. You got a little bit of the left, a little bit of the right, whatever way you want to describe it. But generally aim for that middle line. The balance, the yin and the yang, you know, the black and the white, the light and the dark, the whatever other metaphors you want to come up with, and so anything that aims towards that middle path, you know, I guess that's my position on this. Anyway, sorry. Please don't turn my comments into a Brexit bloodbath. I probably shouldn't have brought this subject up, but I'll put it out there anyway. But yeah, I just, you know, oh look, Marlborough. Let's change the subject. Okay, so that's Marlborough, and we'll take a little drive through the high street, I think, through Marlborough, and then I think I'm going to just aim on home. So here we are in Marlborough High Street. This is that bigger version of what I said was. I can't remember the name of it. There's that brain fog again. Look, nice blue Mustang there. That's the new shape Mustang, and it's the 5 litre one as well. Ooh, bet that sounds good when it starts up. Hungerford. This is a bigger version of Hungerford. That's what I described earlier. Pretty popular for a Sunday. There's hardly any parking available. It's free parking, that's why. Monday to Saturday they're charging. Gonna have a walk down Hungerford High Street with a camera one day soon. Oh. I'm glad she saw us. Wonder what's going on in here. Are basically all the shops open on a Sunday then? I suppose they must be. It's a pretty popular place. Right, I think I'm going to go home this way. It's just a nice little road up here. This is the old road in. The new road's a bit more sleeker, but I like this way. A bit more quaint, a few more bends in the road, a few more interesting houses. Always a nice view. Ooh. I'm gonna have to go up on the curb here. Not sure I want to live here because there's nowhere to park. Probably wouldn't be happy parking my van on a main road like that, if I could even get a space. Oops. Anyway, so I'm not going to be that far from home now. Just probably another 5-10 minutes. I'll be heading back into town. So I think I might as well sign off here. A bit of a not a lot going on video really. Just a bit of a natter and a little drive around. Been nice to get out in the open countryside and see a bit of blue sky. Always very pleasant when that's possible. But anyway, do let me know what you think below, you know, in the notes below, if you think you'll kind of would like, you know, this kind of video is okay, or whether, I mean, I know there are people who want to see, you know, astronomy videos or other types of videos, and they just come along when they do, but this kind of just drive and natter type video, I know some people enjoy them, because they've told me so, and a lot of people have them on just in the background as a bit of company for a while, you know. But you know, if you're happy for me to do this type of video, do let me know in the notes below, and I'll carry on doing them. But like I say, I can be a little bit reluctant to put this type of video up, just because I think it's probably a little bit boring, you know, and I'm not really that keen on doing boring stuff. So anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.